Some girls like muscles. Some girls like money. I like a high KDR. Hey guys, Tiff here, aka the Tiffinator. Here's another domination video from Call of Duty Black Ops. So I just got done talking with my cousin. She just turned 21 last month. My little baby cousin. She's like a sister to me. And we were talking about spring break because she just got back from her vacation. And I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? What are you going to be posting online? What am I going to see? And I'm like, you do realize that your mom sees everything that you put online, right? I mean, I've come across some of her photos where her mom has commented and been like, yeah, you need to take this down because this photo shouldn't be on the internet. So I'm like, oh my goodness. But it got me thinking, back to when I was in college and all the crazy stuff I used to do in spring break. And contrary to what my roommate thought sophomore year, no, I don't need a passport to go home during spring break. Yeah, Hawaii is part of the United States, thank you. But I did renew my passport during college because some of my friends wanted to go to Canada. So we were going to go do a road trip. And I loved it. I mean, in Hawaii, you don't really get that whole road trip experience. So that was all brand new to me. And it's kind of a lot of fun, pop in some tunes, grab some food, and head somewhere. And that was always a lot of fun. My school was actually really big into basketball. So spring break, tons of people would always go down to California, Las Vegas, wherever the West Coast Conference was. And the school did a really good job of, booking out a ton of flights, discount flights for the students, or making sure that, people were carpooling or had a ride down or whatever. So that was always great. And one year I saved up enough money and I was able to fly down to California and go to a game, which was awesome. I mean, you gotta love the face paint and the glitter in the hair and the signs for ESPN, hoping that you'll be on TV. And it was just really exciting. I loved going to basketball games in college. And one of my friends actually was in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. And he, just happened to be there for work. But he was like, oh, isn't the, final West Coast Conference game in Las Vegas? And I was like, yeah, it is. So he just happened to call them up and was able to get a ticket for that night. And he went to see the Gonzaga versus St. Mary's game, which was awesome. And I was like, we should totally go to Las Vegas next year. I mean, screw that we're not in college anymore and we actually have jobs. But I want a spring break and we should totally take a vacation next year. And I mean, Las Vegas is awesome now that I'm like old enough to, go clubbing, drink alcohol, play at the casinos. I mean, it's so much fun. And I don't usually drink, but if it's a occasion for it, then yeah, I'm going to get my groove on. And I remember, maybe 2 times that I ever had beer goggles. Now, if you haven't had beer goggles before, it's crazy. I mean, I remember going to a party once and one of my friends was like, let's take some sake bombs. And I was like, I've never had one before, but okay, that sounds like fun. And I took 2 in a row. I took one for myself, and then one of my girlfriends was like, I don't really want it. So I was like, you can't waste good alcohol. So I took hers right after, and I got super hammered that night. And I remember talking to this guy, thinking that he was this other guy that I kind of knew. And we actually ended up riding back to campus together. And I'm so glad I sobered up on that ride back because they were dropping me off at my apartment. And I was like, I don't know you. I totally thought you were this guy I knew, and you're a stranger. So that was like really weird. And I remember going to a birthday party for one of my friends recently, and it was really funny. Like, one of his friends wasn't 21 yet, so he couldn't come out to the bars with us, and I had gone to a party before that, so I hadn't gone to their house party. So I just met them at the bar. So I was meeting this lady. Turns out it was his mother, so he couldn't go out, but his mom was like, oh, I want to go out with you guys. So she came and like crashed our party. But basically, like, when I first met her, I had been drinking because I was at the bar before she got there, and I was like, oh, who is this chick? She's like cute, she's in her 20s, whatever, you know? Okay, as the night went on and I had stopped drinking because I needed to drive home, I was like, oh, maybe she's not in her 20s. Maybe she's in her 30s. Oh, maybe she's in her 40s. Is she missing some of her teeth? Like, it was bad. Like, and I took photos that night, and when I looked at my camera the next day, I was like, holy cow, how did I think she was this like hot 20-year-old? Yeah, so beer goggles are pretty bad. You know, most people think that I would have gone home for spring break, but I never did. And I always went back for the summertime. And so that was always really cool to meet up with my friends and, you know, hang out and catch up. And most people think, you know, oh, you're from Hawaii, you grew up there, you lived there your whole life, you must, you know, surf all the time. And I think I've only surfed twice. And both times were kind of traumatic for me. Okay, both times I've surfed, which is like every single time I've surfed, I've ended up showing my boobs to everybody. So the first time I was with a friend and I was wearing like this rash guard. And so if you don't know, it's like a t-shirt so that when you're on the board, the wax doesn't rub up against your stomach and you don't get like a rash on your stomach. So I was, you know, we got out of the water and I was showering and I take my rash guard off. Okay, I took my top off too. And I didn't realize it. And I was walking down Waikiki with my surfboard in hand with my boobs sticking out. Yeah, it was awesome. The second time, my friend like totally hooked me up. We got free board rentals in Waikiki, and she had a friend who was like trying to become a surf photographer. And we even got an instructor because one of her friends like owns a surfing school or whatever. And yep, showed my boobs again. It was pretty rough that day. So every time I fell off my board, my top would come off. And I was like, you know, there are probably pictures of me floating around with my top off, and I'm just gonna have to accept that. Well, it's the end of the video. I actually go 40-0, which is awesome. This is the Tiffinator. Come play with me.